everybody. Thank you for tuning in. You're listening to The Jagged Edge. This is Ian here along with Chris, and each week we cover all that good stuff in nerd culture, from movies to gaming, a little bit of anime on the side here and there. So every now and then. But hey, if you want to hear more of that, we sure want to give that to you, and do so with higher and higher quality, more stuff we can deliver. Hey, mash that like button right below. Also, drop us your comments, any of your thoughts. We'd love to hear it. And of course, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, very little anime. Although we will have a review for Voltron outside of this show, but later today. Does that count? That counts as anime, right? I ran that by you, didn't I?
Ish. It uses...
It's definitely the anime style. It's actually American made for the most part, but
exactly. It's stylistically, you almost can't differentiate it. It borrows everything from the irritation veins to the the character tropes, the little styling that they use for it's all over it. You can see it.
Yeah. So. All right. Yeah. So we have a lot of stuff
loaded. Loaded. Here we are thinking, we're gonna get a kind of slow week, maybe a slow day or two. Nope.
Lots of people doing dumb shit.
So we're going to kick right off at the top. Most of what we got here is with movies. Of course, we're going to go into some gaming. But looking at the first piece of disturbing chunk of news here, this has to do with Star Trek. And we're just coming off a Star Trek announcement we're pretty excited about, too, with Next Generation. Yes. But this has nothing to do with that. This involves Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth. They're out. They're done. They're not going to be in Star Trek 4.
Bye-bye.
This was a report from The Hollywood Reporter just this Friday, just yesterday. This is exclusive that negotiations between Star Trek 4 devs, Paramount Pictures, and Skydance have completely broken apart, with Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth, with both sides walking away. Deals with all the other cast members were to happen that after the 2 stars were brought on for the film, so this is all a mess.
They have no one. They have no cast.
It's shot. Money. I mean, money is being cited as a big factor for this. More importantly, studios are apparently pushing to force pay cuts to the stars that already weren't pre-negotiated due to the budget cuts for all the underperforming that the film franchise itself has had. So, no stars, no cast, and somehow production development is still a priority for this. Boy.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what, though? You know how much I care about this?
Very little.
Very little, honestly. I mean, those have been this reboot, the 3 movies. The first one, third one were fun. The second one was okay too. It really kind of loses it in the third act, but I really don't care. This has been a reboot of this franchise that I think at the time, 10 years ago, I definitely think there was a desire for something new from Star Trek. While at the same time they definitely want something from the vines of old. I don't think people want this anymore. These movies have not made, as far as huge AAA big budget films go, they don't really stand in that category. They're bringing 350 to 400 million worldwide, which is a big amount. But when you talk about a franchise as old as this, a franchise that is normally compared to the likes of Star Wars and like Aliens and in other franchises, it's on the lower end, and that's why they're saying this. Is like they're like, look, we know what we negotiated with you,
right?
And even though you're both mega stars now, and you've been in some of the most popular movies of the last couple of years, we want to take your pay down significantly due to budgets. And I agree with both of them. They're like, no. I mean, first money, but secondly, if you do something like that, then, if you take yourself down, when you are AAA actors like Chris Pines and Chris Hemsworth, you take yourself down like that, then other studios are going to think they can do the same.
Right.
You have to market yourself at the right price.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, these are independent contractors. And you can't undersell yourself.
No, for sure. Part of this plays into Star Trek fatigue in a way. This is a really beloved series, but it's to the point where we've had that reemergence happen, not just in film, TV as well. You have Star Trek Discovery. The looking back at Kirk's timeline. There's enough sort of in the water right now, I think, about Star Trek where there isn't that whole burning desire. I mean, just think about it. When you talk about Star Trek 4 now, compared to years back when we first had an announcement of this reboot, with how the kind of open arms that welcome that compared to what we're hearing now, it's like night and day. So, hey, look, if this never saw the light of day, I don't think it would be much off.
I'm fine with it.
Same.
If they want their oversaturated with special effects and all that, they can get that out of Discovery, and hopefully the Next Generation series, the new Picard series, will be more grounded, like we talked about, and I'll be happy with that. Then people get out of this alternate timeline, which people aren't really digging,
right?
And people are fine with it. They're like, all right. Okay, yeah, this is kind of fun, but it doesn't have the following that Star Trek would normally have.
Right.
If this thing died, I would not cry one tear for it.
No. So
now maybe if I knew that there wasn't any more Star Trek coming, then that would be different. But I know there.
Sure, of course. Frankly, I'm fine putting this series at least the movie reboot series, to bed with Benedict Cumberbatch's version of Wrath of Khan. Fine. Yeah. Fine. You can stop there. So.
Well, but they even didn't. We had one more after that. And that
exactly.
So, but that's so far that whole Khan thing is what it's best known for.
Yeah.
That and not getting William Shatner to play Kirk in the cameo in the reboot.
Yeah.
But all right. Yeah.
Fair enough. And Shatner yelled at best too. No one's gonna beat that.
Nope, that's classic.
Yeah. Also, hey, along lines of things that are in bad water. Now, this one is definitely canceled. That's Silver and Black. Down.
You're out of here.
Down and out. Instead, there's going to be standalone movies to take the place of this. Now, this was a report from Variety.
Welcome back.
Yep.
you don't have to share a room. You get your own room.
A report from Variety that dropped off Sony's lineup pretty recently here. These are being split up, and we're going to be looking at a series of standalone movies. Sanford Panittic.
Good luck. Sure.
Thanks. President of Columbia Pictures, and he's also the exec overseeing the Sony and Spider-Man films, had this to say. This is a quote from him. "We believe Black Cat is enough of her own character with a great backstory and a canon of material to draw from to justify her own film." Spider-Man.
I want to stop you there.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. He's half right.
Yeah.
He's half right. And you're a big Spider-Man fan too.
Yeah.
I don't think she is enough of her own character to push the kind of superhero money, even on the lower end of superhero movies, that you should get. Now he's half right on saying that there is enough material from the comics to justify her own film. There's definitely enough story there.
Definitely.
But I don't think she is big enough and strong enough to put the shoulders of a movie to put on her own shoulders.
This would heavily depend on who or what characters are being casted alongside her. I'll give you an example. The stories that she tended to be casted in that involve Kingpin, things like that, more like
but that's
robberies from rival mobs. Yeah,
that's not putting it on her own shoulders, though.
No, it's not. I'm going somewhere with that. Those are the ones that were a little more downplayed. Like you said, those don't fall on her. It's all those surrounding characters and Kingpin and everything else that builds it. Now, when we start talking more about the her own powers, and we start talking, I think, edging more into like the concept of like super serums and things like that. If you take that kind of arc and focus it more on her, maybe build almost like a pseudo origin, that sort of gets more into her lane. I always thought the stories about Kat that did better looking at Felicia Hardy, better looking at how she stumbled into these powers, had her force behind it a little more than what I saw 70% of the time, which was part of the cast.
Yeah, what is her powers? I forget.
She's really agile. She's also pretty strong. I wouldn't put her on a
but isn't there something else, kind of like Domino's powers or something like that, where she's like lucky
like luck?
Or something? Yeah.
I don't know. She didn't have the power to manipulate luck. like Domino. I know that for a fact.
I'm gonna look it up.
But she did. It was something to do with her enemies, if I remember right. She could like make something like bad luck for them. It didn't have anything to do with like increasing her luck. That's the most I remember.
Oh, well, this website sucks. I don't know. I'm looking at Google's going to tell me stuff right now.
Well, look at this. Here, I got an entry for you right here.
Okay.
Powers and abilities. Initially, Black Cat had, at the very start, no additional superhuman abilities. Later, a test induced by the Kingpin gave her psionic ability to affect probability fields. Essentially,
so something like luck.
Yeah, she could produce bad luck for her enemies.
Right. Okay. I knew it's something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's going to sell a movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it could. Yeah, you put that next to Captain America.
Sure. Right?
All
right. So, now, next part of that quote. Okay. Spider-Man connects to a lot of the characters. There are villains, heroes, and anti-heroes, and a lot are female characters, many of whom are bona fide, fully dimensionalized, and utterly unique. We feel there's no reason the Marvel characters shouldn't be able to embrace diversity.
Look, you know what immediately came to mind for me when I read this earlier? I'm like, gosh, I love the Lethal Weapon movies, but when they gave Murtaugh and Riggs their own individual movies, that's when they shined.
Yep.
That's because I mean, I hope, and I know that's a little bit of a dated reference, but
right.
that puts it in perspective for you, I think, doesn't it?
No, it does. It does.
I
follow.
I hope that puts it. I mean, for me, I was just like, no, this isn't about marginalizing anybody. All right, this is about taking two similar characters who are very similar. Is the fact that, well, they've attracted the attention of a superhero, and they're sometimes, most of the time, on the bad guy side.
Yep.
And putting them together in that similarity, but yet they're also very different.
Exactly.
It's a buddy flick. It's a buddy flick with two female supervillains.
Right.
Now that concept actually sounds pretty cool.
Sure. And that even stands outside of what Wonder Woman would aim to do.
It's original. Even. It's different.
Yeah.
No, but still okay. Here's the thing. I think Black Cat has some potential, but not on her own. You're going to have to put her with some other cast that people know. Silver Sable's not going to sell a thing.
No.
Not by herself.
No, I agree. Look, some of my favorite stories that I saw in Spidey arcs that added some really cool additional hype, the ones that had like Black Cat in them or that included Silver Sable, because if they were involved in something that wasn't like a petty burglary or something else, something serious was about to go on. If you had all these, additional characters being introduced into it, I think back to the storyline. I think it was from Amazing Spider-Man when Venom returned, and he was stalking Parker to try to find out like where he lived and everything like that, and he's just going around just torturing whoever he can. And he happens to run into Black Cat. Black Cat catches a beat down. Luckily, he doesn't, kill her or anything, but she doesn't have any other, information, and he just pretty much like leaves her alone. But just the fact that she's part of this warpath that like Venom's going on, and now all these external characters start to get involved. You're like, oh man, this is a really serious story arc, and that really helps for me at least as a big time Spidey fan with the whole immersion and really getting into a story. It's probably why I got in Maximum Carnage so much, because you had everybody from Cloak and Dagger. You knew I was going there. You knew I was going there.
It all comes down to Maximum Carnage and
Yes, it does. It comes down to Maximum Carnage and Super Nintendo. It comes down to Maximum Carnage the series comics as well. Oh, I loved it.
Oh,
but that's my point.
Well, yeah, this is dumb. I'm not sure. And it's like at the end, it's almost like, look, I don't want to hear any crap about this diversity.
Yeah.
Come at me now.
Yeah.
And it's like, God. I mean, do you think this is about diversity?
No. In fact,
it's about money.
Yeah. If you cast that in that light, Marvel films at this point, I think that'd be doing it a disservice. Look, it is an unspoken truth for these movies. I argue that the last thing that it seems to be his huge concern is the level of diversity and everything being caused. Look, this is a pretty natural and organic process. The way this is, the way this shakes out. Just look at it. You got the Guardians of the Galaxy, Wakanda, Thor, Norse gods, Captain America. And look, was there ever a huge push for a concept of diversity in that, or that being a huge concern? No. These characters, these stories sort of naturally mingle and marry in an amazing way, and Marvel's brought them together in such a cool way. So no, I think putting that on trying to put that on the front burner, it's just not needed.
Yeah, this is, and the next story we're gonna talk about gets me even more worried. But if this is where you're coming from, I mean, these are supposed to be gritty, low budget, R-rated movies about supervillains from the rogues gallery of one of the top superheroes ever.
Right.
And the hype of that, the hype that there's Superman villain or Spider-Man villains, in that you're kind of exemplifying these character traits which have made them such great villains, is what you're supposed to be doing. This is where we're getting Kraven the Hunter from.
Yeah.
And I read, while doing this research, I read something about a character named Jackpot. You ever heard of Jackpot?
Heard of him, yeah, but no, I'm not.
It's a her.
Ah.
And
so I've only heard.
and they're getting their own movie. And I guess the thing about Jackpot is that Jackpot is an older character, as in not as it's been around for a while. It's an older age character. Yeah.
Well,
and so we're getting that. And so, I mean, dude, if you and I have never heard of Jackpot before, then you're having problems.
Jackpot, maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking at Jackpot here on Google. I mean, I've seen this character before. I could not have told you their name, though. Right. I mean, this is like a D-level villain. Probably one that the Punisher took out when he had the War Machine armor.
Collateral. Chalk it up to Collateral.
So, but they're getting a movie, and it's, all right.
All right, well.
So, Sony Spider-Man franchise, so it was good to know you. Hardly had a chance to meet you.
Man,
these are really bad signs.
Speaking of which,
yep, here we
go. Speaking of which, the flag bearer for Sony's line here that we've been looking at lately, aka Venom, is likely not to be R-rated. This was a report also coming out of Variety that said this will likely not be Sony's first R-rated Marvel movie. This comes from sources close to Sony. They're saying that the execs are pushing very hard for a PG-13. Despite the whole push by the director himself stating at Comic-Con that he intends for the movie to be rated R. The reason for this is to, leave an opening for a crossover with MCU Spider-Man in the future. You can't look. Venom's not the guy you have over for Thanksgiving dinner or give him a Teletubbies outfit. This is one of the most murderous anti-heroes we've had. Period. It seems to me really hard to tell that story with him just letting villains off easy. I don't need
I mean,
it,
the
man.
Punisher stops at killing them, but Venom, he kills them and he eats them. He eats their brains.
He needs a meal, man.
He eats their bodies. The reason, look, if you're good. I'm a little torn on this, only because I would like to see Venom,
sure,
in the MCU if this is a good Venom,
sure.
But not at the sake of losing. He should have his own R-rated movie, and if you want him to be, it's like Deadpool. If you're going to bring Deadpool in, which I'm sure they will, then when you have Deadpool in non-Deadpool movies, then it's PG-13,
right?
But when you have Deadpool in his Deadpool movies, you're a little surprised that thing's not rated X. Which, by the way, the super duper cut with 15 more minutes, and I've been seeing,
man,
a lot of deleted scenes that comes out in a couple of weeks. I guess it's already out on digital download, but the DVD comes out in a couple of weeks. I cannot wait. There's so much raunchy stuff. Did you see the deleted scene with him in the kitchen? With
I
the
didn't.
And yeah. All right, you should download, or you should go check that out. But but my point exactly though, and people love this.
Yeah,
it's like all of a sudden, it's like they were on board. You look at Logan, you look at Deadpool, and they're on board for making these R-rated superhero movies. There's obviously a draw for it.
Definitely.
But you make your Venom R-rated movie, and then when Venom goes into Spider-Man 3 or Spider-Man 4, maybe he doesn't eat a person.
Sure.
He's busy with Spider-Man. And he's not going to eat Spider-Man.
No. And see, that's the fun, especially contextually for Venom. He's always sort of, vacillated between these spears. He has this idea, kind of twisted, mind you, idea of justice. And on the one hand, where he can be going around murdering villains, the story, at least the old story, the symbiote itself also always had an affection, deep-seated. For Parker as being one of the first hosts that took over. So I'd be really interested without that, with the Venom that sort of just got his start without Spider-Man as a base. What would that interaction be like? How would he view his vigilantism compared to what he's trying to do? Maybe he'd be one thing, hey, look, you're letting these guys off too soft, etc. There's a lot of room. There's plenty, I don't even have to go too far into that. You get an idea of what they could do.
Yeah.
So,
but you add both of these stories together, and what you end up with is a very, very neutered and neutered concept, and just something that has obviously had too many hands on it. Too many executives have their hands on it with all these stupid. Why put them both in a movie? You shouldn't have them both in the same movie. Have them have their own movie, because comics. And diversity.
There is a fine line between balancing raw inspiration and just telling really fun, really cool stories, and in the same hand looking at the kind of formula for a cash machine. Look, at the end of the day, movies make cash. Gaming, these kinds of entertainment media. I know that's what it comes down to at the end of the day, but for me at least, part of the awesome draw for this and how this whole universe is connected is just by telling really good stories that never came out the gate pandering to a specific cause, to a specific group necessarily or anything like that. They're just good stories, man, based off characters we know.
Right. So this whole thing stinks of scraping the bottom of the barrel. Sony's got this thing, and soon Sony's going to be the only company that has this thing besides Marvel. Yeah. Yeah. And they've got access to 900 characters, I read.
Wow.
And they're gonna make movies out of all of them. All of them. Hey, kudos on Into the Spider-Verse, at least the concept, good thing to go with. I would love to see another animated series based on the clones and do some clone stuff. You got some Venom going, that's awesome. I thought Silver and Black was an interesting concept. No, I wasn't completely sold on it. I'm definitely not sold on them doing their own thing.
No.
I'm not sold on that at all. Craven? No. Jackpot? What? Morbius? All right, Green Lantern.
All right, cool.
Morbius. Morbius is good, and that should definitely be a low budget thing. But they're not even going in that direction. So you know what, Sony? You just keep going. You're the person that just never learns. You stick your freaking finger in the light socket and you never learn. Just keep going. Just do it. Do it until you're not around anymore, and then Disney can buy you. And then like the Highlander, there can be only one.
I'm just getting this image of Mickey Mouse standing with a katana blade, like electricity
coming down.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Just to even see.
That should be the movie.
It should. It should. I'd go. Shoot.
Oh my gosh.
Well,
All right.
Well, speaking of sticking on lines of potentially destructive movie.
Hold on. Before we move forward, I want to know how you feel. What do you think? What are the chances? Venom's R-rated. What are the chances?
On what scale? At a 10 or just a percent chance? Or
I don't know. Do you 50-50, 25%? What do you got? What do you think that you're going to go see an R-rated Venom movie in October?
30%.
Oh, 30? Is it October? No, it's even September.
Yeah, 30%.
Yes. Yeah.
And I say that because of the poor track record. Yeah, to caving to, what they potentially will deem as, slant it towards this so we can catch a wider net or catch a bigger audience. It's, not catering less to the heart, these characters in the story and more to what I think they think will,
right. It's like MCU just you kind of walked past Sony, kind of all sexy like, and now Sony's like, I want to hang out with them no matter what.
Good way. What about you? Percent or chance?
Yeah. Jeez. 10%.
Fair enough.
We're gonna be seeing a PG-13 Venom, and they'll go the Warner Brothers route, and you can get your R-rated version on DVD. Get out of here with your crap.
Go big or go home. All right, but speaking of one that probably won't go big, Supergirl. There are rumblings of a Supergirl movie, and we have talked up and down the street about DC-related films, the sort of chaos that we have going on in the wake of Batman v Superman, Justice League missing the mark a bit, trying to create this shared universe.
Missing the mark a bit.
Oh, it's more than a bit. That puts it lightly. I know. But, look, this is the latest talk, and I know part of this follows the success of the WB series for Supergirl, the ongoing series. Of course, there's been the appearance of Superman. Yeah, but just looking at this, it's a report from Deadline. There aren't hard details on it right now, but Warner Brothers and DC are developing a feature film based around the TV series for Supergirl. This is a script being worked on by Oren Uziel. That's the one thing that has been confirmed about that. Not a whole lot more is coming out about this. As far as, is this going to be on the heels at all of Man of Steel or anything like that? But likely not. I think Supergirl is a way to sort of do a soft reset on a lot of this. It's a way to tell a story about a Kryptonian without necessarily going into soups. But, okay. Again, with a lot of what we've seen from DC is again similar pattern. It's just something that is just void of details right now. Supergirl, it's never been really one of my favorites. She's there like a lot of the other Kryptonians and superpowered folk are, but it's, to me, I'm looking at this and I say, okay, that, hey, if wake me up once something solid comes out on this. So
here's the thing: they've been talking about Supergirl in the worlds of DC for forever, ever since the Man of Steel movie, and one of the pods is open. There's like all those pods in the ship, and one of them's open, and it was an intentional potential nod to a Supergirl movie. No, why not? You throw Supergirl in the bin with all the other worlds of DC movies that you're talking about. That half of them will probably never even leave pre-production. No, this one I think has legs though. Sure. Just get it off the ground here. Just do it. If you're gonna do it, do it.
Right.
But do it. That's where I am with all the worlds. Just do it. If you're gonna, then I know there's been some popularity with the TV show. I can't stomach it. I've tried it in a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Because I really want to like the Supergirl TV show.
Sure.
I really enjoy the concept of Supergirl. But
sure.
Yeah. Hey, you know what though? You know what they've done awesome, and you know what the Worlds of DC has done that no one else thought could be done, and that was a wildly successful and well praised Wonder Woman.
This is true.
So
this is true.
Take a crack at it.
It can be done.
Yeah.
Let it be known.
But that being said, why do you need Supergirl when you have this version of Wonder Woman, which is basically Supergirl?
This Wonder Woman is scary powerful, man.
Right. But, whatever. Sure.
It'll be what it'll be. It'll be what it'll be. So. All right. Moving over to the more animated side of things. It's a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. We've been looking at, been some news. Ben Schwartz is going to be Sonic the Hedgehog. This was the Parks and Rec cast member. And also Dewey Duck from DuckTales. I didn't know that.
I had to do some serious research on this.
He is going to be voice acting Sonic in next year's CG live action movie. Sure, hey, Sonic has never been tied to a specific voice. It was, in fact, some fans thought he became a snot when he did get a voice and enjoyed it more back in the Sega days where things related kind of like, old still film, stuff like that. You never needed any words. You just pretty much followed the action on screen. So, that and Eggman, a.k.a. Robotnik. Of course, he's going to be in live action. This was the question that went out during a recent press tour. And for the upcoming show on Showtime about his role in the Sonic movie, Jim Carrey was saying it will definitely be live action when it comes to how we're going to portray the villain. So, there you have it. Hey, voice actor casted. Some more confirmation on Dr. Robotnik. Hey, it's moving right forward.
That's some of the questions that I think we had when they announced Jim Carrey. Was he going to be playing an animated character or live action? I was hoping for live action.
Same. So, interesting choice. And also, saw some hilarious stuff I can't help but look at with Eggman. I almost wonder if he's going to do the signature round gut or not, because there's some things about this guy that never made sense. He's got the most spindly legs, but the biggest gut, and can occasionally outrun Sonic in games. So weird.
I can't wait for the Sonic movie. It's currently scheduled for November of next year, so I'll be waiting a while. I'm not even a big Sonic fan. I'm not even big. Well, I think that's kind of why I'm waiting for it. It's like, this is more like either I'm going to see something beautiful or I'm going to see a train wreck. Either way, it's going to be entertaining, and I'm going to be sitting there with the popcorn. Just watching the Why will I be laughing? I'm sure I will be, but why?
Yeah. Alrighty. Oh, hey, one that I was looking at for Spidey here. I almost want to say so. This one probably should have been up with Black Cat, but do you have a few spoilers for the next Spider-Man movie? Looking at for MCU, that's Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Careful, people.
Confirmation that Nick Fury and Maria Hill, they're going to be in. This was a report, Vulture, that Nick Fury and Maria Hill are going to return in Spider-Man: Far From Home. Samuel L. Jackson and Kobe Smulders will be reprising the roles for the film. Now, it's unknown how big their roles actually going to be or exactly what they're going to do, of course. We got another couple of big movies. And in the way this work, could even start thinking about that, rightfully. But, heck, we should probably mention that Jake Gyllenhaal.
That's Jake Gyllenhaal.
Thanks. Jake Gyllenhaal's name is constantly rumored, confirmed, and then debunked. He's playing the villain Mysterio in the film because this may have finally been confirmed or not, or maybe we don't know.
Yeah,
this is still up in the air.
I was looking at this one and I couldn't. There was all these things confirmed and not confirmed. I'm looking at the dates and some of them were on the same day and from the same place. But it keeps being brought up, so I guess at this point we should probably just mention Jake Gyllenhaal maybe will be playing Mysterio, which I think is an odd pick for a character who's typically a lot older than that.
He is.
And but sure. Yeah, that the big thing here for me is Nick Fury and Maria Hill, because, and this is why it's spoilers, because we've talked about this with this version of Spider-Man in the MCU, which is very Ultimate Spider-Man heavy.
Oh yeah.
And when you start getting into Nick Fury and Maria Hill with that, you start making the connections with Spider-Man and S.H.I.E.L.D., which I believe was also very Ultimate heavy.
Very.
And you start talking about post Infinity War, post Avengers 4, Phase 4, a world without Iron Man at least not being a superhero. Well, okay, so where's Spider-Man getting his gadgets and his stuff? He can make his own web shooters, but he doesn't have money.
Right.
And he doesn't have, he doesn't have funding. And Well, maybe there's going to be a recreation of Shield, and that's kind of where I think this is leading towards.
Right. Which would be great. I mean, it set with me. I was so sad to see Shield go, man.
Yeah,
it hurt.
From the full perspective of Shield, and then watching Agents of Shield and how that's all worked out, it's been a thing, and we've got a small season coming here, but next year, just before Avengers 4, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, this. I'm fine with this. I'm okay with this.
Sure.
And again, this is MCU, and I generally trust the MCU as far as what they do. But it's just kind of weird. The whole Shield thing for me is very played out.
Yeah. Not reasonable enough, and like you said, you got a larger context to look at this through. So,
and
cool.
I will be pretty annoyed if they bring Shield back after all these years of watching the TV show, and then they bring Shield back in the MCU main stage, which is the movies, obviously, and all these years of these characters in the TV show trying to, re-establish Shield, and then they were never able to do it, only for them to just here it is now in the movie world with none of that cast.
Yeah,
and that would be very annoying.
Yeah. Well, it's that unicorn link we keep looking for between it's tough, man.
Just about sure it doesn't exist.
Same. It'll be a magic day when it does, though, if it ever does. Well,
now watch next month when Iron Fist season 2 comes out. Everybody gets dusted 3 episodes in.
Dude.
I'll let you know.
Yeah. If they do, please tell me, because I'd laugh so hard if Iron Fist was the one to actually do it. So, man,
it should be
rightfully. I'd respect it, shoot.
That would have been the best ending for Cloak and Dagger. if at the end of that show, at the season finale should have been the series financial finale. If they all just dusted at the end,
done.
And then they cut to a room. There's an ant playing the drum set.
Hey, dude, I could take that ending.
Yeah,
I mean, it's an ending that has it's free right now. To my mind, at least, just waiting to be grabbed. Hey, you want a way to wrap up your series or to be continued? Just go watch Infinity War. Just take that.
Did you watch any more of Cloak and Dagger after we were done with it? No. I didn't either. I keep on saying every once in a while pops in my head, I should probably at least fast forward through the season final, see where they went, see what they did. I really don't care though. You're losing me, Marvel.
Yeah,
you're losing me on this TV show stuff. I've been a big time follower, but
yeah. The biggest one is how can you have Coulson and then not? I'll leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this though is it's Transformers losing you.
Well, that is a loaded question, sir. That is not a very good way to segue into this, because that can go in a completely different direction than what this is about.
Well, this is about, of course, the Transformers movie, the theatrical release for that. There's a remastered version, the original film, coming in theaters for one night only, September 27th. And it's kind of hard for me to picture you not checking this out. But...
Oh my! You mean checking it out again?
Yeah,
for the first time?
Yeah.
I was there. My heart was broken. I was traumatized like all the other millions of kids when Optimus Prime died for the first time in that movie. When in the first act, most of your favorite Autobots and Decepticons were destroyed. That it was shocking. I mean, talk about unexpected mature content. It was, I mean, when you've seen this movie, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when he shoots Prowl and smoke comes out of his mouth and his eyes dim, and when Optimus Prime turns, it's like, oh my god.
Oh.
You're like, what? How many kids actually had a Prowl toy in their hands in the movie theater when that happened? But yeah, I mean, geez, I have to just talk about that. I mean, the Transformers, the movie, is a cinematic masterpiece. It is just it is a style that it's so great. It's beautiful film, absolutely beautiful animation. The soundtrack, it's almost to the point where it went so over the top it went back to like, so it's crazy. It's so 80s, but it's so everything great about the 80s. And then at the same time they're killing all your favorite people. But
and you still can't help but love it.
Yeah, but the style to this thing. So yeah, if I can watch it remastered in the theater, hell yeah, I'm going.
Nice.
You should go too.
I really should.
Did you? I'm sure you didn't get to see it in a theater.
No,
I was like 6.
I definitely
so.
I definitely didn't see this in the theater, man. Most of the time I know the theaters that do special showings will cover stuff like this. Like I know when I was in Illinois, I think they always had special showings for like the when Death Note came out with the very first live action for that. The first couple they had special stuff for that. So yeah, I'm sure if you got a select
the one
theater,
that was on Netflix.
No, this is way before. Death Note had live actions long before that.
Oh.
2 of which that are a lot more respected than the Netflix one, by the way. So.
All right. Well, I can't imagine much respect going to that movie.
I know. Well, the Netflix are just a poor example. But. Yeah. All right. There's a little something you saved. You've been saving for a couple weeks.
I've been saving.
That the audience needs an explanation on. Heck, I want to hear this too. This is Uncle Chris. Uncle Chris, how do we do it?
Time.
How do we do it?
I'm not gonna tell it like a whole story. It would probably take too long. But yeah, no. A couple weeks ago, I had mentioned that I had thought of a way that they could actually bring Luke Skywalker back to life in Episode 9. It's kind of funny because there's actually been some talk in the interweb tubes about this very thing. And some instances that were mentioned, not in the actual movies, but they were mentioned in earlier versions of the script of Return of the Jedi, where ghosted Jedis actually came back to life. There was an earlier version of Return of the Jedi where Obi-Wan Kenobi comes out of the shadows at the end of the movie. You know, they're in the tree hut and they're all celebrating, and there he is, and he's alive. And this has been mentioned. There was another situation mentioned with the fight with Luke and Darth Vader and the Emperor, where this could have happened as well. Of course, these things did not happen.
Right.
Yeah, but so The Last Jedi really screwed the pooch pretty bad.
Say the least.
Bringing back old references too. Screwed the pooch. So yeah, how do you bring Luke back? Because they need to. They have to.
Yep.
If I was not reviewing that movie for this channel next year, the moment I would find out that Luke was not actually back alive in that movie, I would walk out. And I think many people will, though. I won't, because I'll be reviewing it, but I may have to buy another ticket just so that I can go watch it and then walk out at that point. My staged protest.
No, it's called for. It's called for at that point, and I'm right with you. I can't help but smile hearing that, because that's really at the crux of my thoughts for this. How I would love to actually see it happen. To have force ghosting elaborated on. It's this idea of you're not just transcending conscious. You've been able to become one with the force in such a way where you've stepped out of physical form. If you've done so, and the way that, especially the teachings always go about how death is not an end. And heck, if you've voluntarily been able to step into that, I would think reasonably that you think the opposite would be true too. I don't think it's a stretch.
So my original concept for my idea came from what I thought was something I had heard in the movie, in The Last Jedi, that Snoke had said, which was that he didn't. I went back, and I watched it again, just to make sure. Actually, I went to that area. I went to that specific part. And so when they're in Snoke's throne room with Rey and Kylo Ren, he mentions once he reads Rey's mind and finds out where Luke is. He does, in fact, mention how he's going to send a fleet to destroy the whole planet.
Right.
Which was something what kind of started with my idea here. So basically, my original idea, before you even see the crawl and everything, you go back to that ridiculous moment where Luke dies. And everything plays out exactly the same. They use the same footage, except they actually they insert some footage into that where he's holding on to the rock and he's all weak from doing this brand new force power no one even knew existed.
Right.
But you cut in some footage of a bunch of TIE fighters coming in to attack the planet, and you can see some Star Destroyers behind them and stuff like that. And just after he disappears, they blow up that whole rock and that whole thing, and you see just a moment, a very quick moment of TIE fighters just destroying that whole planet, or at least that island. And this gives you new purpose and reason as to what's happened, instead of he's one with the Force. No.
Right.
So the whole thing is that he didn't die, he didn't Force ghost, he was teleported. But he couldn't do that alone. Going with the crap screwed pooch concept. Yep, that pooch is screwed to. Yeah. Continue because I think it's fair, good or bad, that is canon.
Right.
So you have to go with it. And so so that's one of the hurdles. The other hurdles to it was, so he teleported, but Luke didn't teleport himself. Someone else teleported him. So how the hell does that happen? Because this isn't Star Trak.
Right.
So, and then you have the comments the quick conversation that Rey and Leia have at the end of the movie about how they say that Luke is gone. They can feel that he's gone. He feels like he's at peace, blah, blah, blah. So, these are the big hurdles for the whole thing. It's almost like Rian Johnson would just want to make sure he wanted to have his stamp on it. I killed Luke, and here's all the different. But I found a way, you jackass, to get around your garbage. It is not a very good way, but it was the only way I could think of. So you see that at the beginning of Episode 9, right. And then you go about the movie as you'd planned on. It's years later. All right, it's years later and stuff. And when they get an opportunity to cut back to what had happened there, it's my understanding that Maz Kanata is going to have this huge ship. It's going to be very pirate-looking, and all. It's going to have all this crew and everything. It's going to be very Pirates of the Caribbean, is my understanding. So get prepared for that. Yeah, yar. Blah. We'll see, though. Could be cool. Her castle was pretty cool. There you go. From Episode 7. I like that. So, basically there's not a lot of Force users left, but Maz Kanata is, while not trained in the Force, she's very powerful with it. Very powerful with and the whole idea is that she gets wind of the fact that Luke is about to die. He's about to get blown up. There's all this... there's all this fleet and all these ships are going to blow up Baku, and
right.
So she's the one that teleports him. But she loses him, and so she's spent all these years constantly trying, not like every waking moment, but whenever she can, trying to bring him back because he was so weak from the stupid Force projection crap. So, but she does eventually. Okay. She does eventually bring him back. And it's for Star Wars first. We get a lot of those with this trilogy, good or bad. Star Wars first, he's completely naked. We're doing the whole Terminator traveling in time. I don't want to see it, but he did drop his clothes.
True.
So you kind of have to. And so, but she does finally bring him back. So he didn't actually die, but he did go into the Force. But he didn't die, so you can bring him back. I think you can bring him back.
There you
I
go.
think that works. Yeah, I think
there you go.
And so she finally is able to bring him back, and so she does, and he's on her ship. And one of the things I thought would be kind of cool is if he's even missing his robotic hand.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so, he's completely disoriented and kind of, all messed up from the whole thing. And they get him situated, and then you see him either direct cut right after that scene. He's getting he's in clothes as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm. Of course,
please. You have a scene very reminiscent to Return of the Jedi because it's J.J. Abrams and he's going to copy these movies. So, not Return of the Jedi, very reminiscent of Empire Strikes Back, where he's sitting there and you've got a droid putting a new hand on.
There you go.
So he's going to have a new covered hand again. It's going to, it's going to have skin on it and everything, and it's going to be very reminiscent to this character who, whether we liked it or not, was taken way in the left field as to where he stood from what we thought Luke would be and where Luke should be.
Right.
This is kind of a in a sense, kind of a rebirth, a resurgence for him. So you put him in a similar stance, in a similar situation that you had from Empire Strikes Back, and where he's becoming a Jedi. He's down that path.
Mm-hmm.
So he's cleaned up, very similar to how he looked at the end of The Last Jedi. He's got a new hand. Him and Maz Kanata are talking. She's getting him updated as to what's happened, what's been going on in the last few years with the rebellion and all that stuff, and resistance. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Not the rebellion, resistance. Where the world is, he talks about the mistakes that he had made, and how he needs to get back and help and find Rey. Because I'm thinking the way it should go, and this is going a little bit off of this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking the way it should go is Rey obviously is very powerful with the Force and has those old books, and she's trying to learn to be a Jedi, but she lacks discipline because she's had no teacher.
Right.
And I think that's a good role where you could have Luke come in, where she's very powerful and very raw with the Force, but needs a lot of help in that capacity as someone who can teach her discipline and control. And I think that also helps Rey from not being the total Mary Sue that she's been.
I was just about to comment on that. A mountain or something for her to sort of work through or progress, especially in her Force sensitivity, is really welcome at this point, because I'd have trouble after this trilogy sitting and just accepting, nope, just because she's awesome.
Right. Well, and I think that gives them both an interesting place to go, and grow together as characters. Luke, finding himself after the decision he's made after coming back from being lost in the Force for years, basically because his only hope was somebody who was powerful with the Force but not trained in it to try to save him. And the two of them actually learning, because it kind of feels like, whether it was just The Last Jedi or not, if you look at some of the expanded canon, that they're trying to alter what a Jedi is,
right,
and not be quite as strict as to the discipline that the Jedi was. And this is the path that they can go down together. They won't, because they're doing what they're doing. I also thought it'd be kind of fun. At the very end of this, I went off on the whole Rey thing. Forget about that. Let's go back to where Luke and Maz Kanata are.
Right.
If at the end of the whole conversation, Maz Kanata hands him his green lightsaber.
Hey!
And says, you need to quit losing these things. I keep finding them everywhere. Or something along those lines. Because she had his blue one, too. She had his original one, too. Something along those lines. And
Fun.
there, now Luke's back.
Fun.
It's very contrived, but I didn't have a lot to work with.
Well, there you go.
But there you go, J.J. Abrams. Now give me millions and go make the movie that everybody will watch.
Problem solved. Let's get Luke back.
Now, what do you think, though?
Man, really, I really expounded upon that a bit already. In fact, when we talked about it before, it's pretty simple for me. A, Luke needs to come back. B, I think it'd be great for him to sort of round that bend as both a reconciled teacher to Rey, and also to have Rey round out, kind of tone down the Mary Sue a little bit. But B comes to C, rather, it comes down to this the most, giving us a new dimension to Force Ghost. And if we're all about a Star Wars series that's showing us examples of the Force used in ways we never saw, I think it's only appropriate to finally build upon something we've seen since A New Hope that's never been expounded upon any further than outside of like a few pieces of dialogue. I think it's called for at this point. So
yeah, but I mean, what do you think of my idea on how to bring Luke back?
It's awesome.
Is it? I don't know. I think it's okay. I mean, some of it, like her, why would Maz Kanata have his lightsaber? How does she find out that Snoke was sending a fleet to destroy? Because I mean, he says it in the movie. That doesn't mean that she knows. But
sure.
Maybe she finds it in the finds out. So they decode a message or something. She goes back to the island after they've left and gets what she can from what's left from the planet for Jedi training and such.
And I'm talking about more about the broad contours of your idea. That's what's sound. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, sure, there are some glaring holes in the best guy, and then she happens to have both.
They're not as glaring as the holes Rian Johnson left, though.
No, they aren't. This is true. This is true. But no, it's more the concept itself that sound that I zone in on. So yeah, sure, you could flesh out the surrounding stuff as much as it wants, but
J.J. Abrams should give me millions.
Sure.
Yeah, give me millions.
Take it right from the Star. Wait, no. Keep in mind, you're one of those Star Wars fans. They don't know you anything.
That's right. So. Except for they do now because I just saved his trilogy. Give me the millions. Oh, he better be back to life though.
Yeah, he's seriously better.
Yeah, better. Fix it.
All right.
I don't. You know what? Honestly, I could even deal with the fact that if he just shows up and he's alive and there's no explanation.
Sure.
I would even be okay with that.
If you want to keep the whole mysticism thing about it, sure.
And just maybe make a snide comment of, yeah, I came back. You have to erase this.
Yeah.
It has to be fixed. All right. Okay.
There we go.
So that's my story. Tell me what you think.
Cranking on right into gaming. Had a couple pieces on this for the week. The biggest news, though, I think comes from Monster Hunter World. This just came out. It's Monster Hunter World weekend, basically. A lot of people in my circle are playing this one. This is no joke. This is the biggest game for Steam this year. So far, it's still swelling at over 200,000 plus simultaneous players. This is also the biggest launch for a Japanese game over Steam. This beats out Dark Souls 3, that had about 129,000 simultaneous players at one of its peaks. 8 million copies of this have already been sold on PS4 and Xbone. And moreover, the FF14 crossover has been awesome for this. So, as we said a good while back, there was a crossover in the works for the release of this that was going to go into Final Fantasy XIV and vice versa for FF14 for Monster Hunter World. That is, the Behemoth from Final Fantasy is in Monster Hunter as a huntable enemy. And in the same hand in FF14, the Rathalos is an 8-man instance for the normal mode, and a 4-man extreme instance, a harder version that has some different rewards for the secondary mode. Hey, about the crossover stuff, hey, look, this is cool. I haven't done the extreme version yet on 14. I just did the normal with some of my guildmates. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's really in the spirit of Monster Hunter. I know series producer Yoshi P had commented he really wanted to do some mechanics like as you're attacking, have like scales break off or slash like different parts of the tail and like that falls. But I think that just interacted funny with the way 14 is set up as far as getting random droppables to appear like that mid-battle and stuff. So they didn't do that. But there's still a lot of other stuff that's true to Monster Hunter. It's cool seeing an enemy that has no real aggro table. A tank is not going to just grab and turn this one around for you. It attacks who it wants, whenever it wants. You really have to look more for tells, and even for the instance itself, you use potions kind of in the style of Monster Hunter. So that's really cool on the 14 side. I can't talk about the Monster Hunter side of things because I don't play it, and I don't plan on picking this one up, but Behemoth looks awesome in game. And Capcom looks like they've done a solid job on this and getting this known more outside of Japan now and taking this to a large context.
So explain something to me because I'm not. I think I might be surprised by something. I'm not sure if I understand the context. Mm-hmm. 207,000 simultaneous players. What's that mean? Like that's how many people were actually playing at one time, or is that subscriptions?
At one time.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. But Monster Hunter is sort of kept away from sub base, and this is important to note. this is it's always been a super popular series within Japan. It's just never made real efforts to push a whole lot to, Western audiences and stuff like that. But this changes the table. This doesn't have like cross compatibility like 14, like like PS4 players can play with PC players, vice versa. You don't have that. Like you have PC version, you're on PC, etc. But this is really catching on and people are digging it. So
how is it explained in Final Fantasy 14 how this is like canon and stuff?
14 has some funny crossovers that happen occasionally. We've had an FF11 and an FF13, and also some stuff for oh goodness, is it Dragon Quest? And a few other titles as well. There was what was that? Man, I should not be forgetting that Ghost game at the moment because I kept seeing it. But anyway, it's had various occurrences, and yes, you're right. There's always some kind of quest that sort of ties things together and explains why is this happening in Eorzea and why do you see this stuff here. Pretty simple in this. In the current expansion for 14, there is a region called the Azim Steppe that's home to a lot of wyverns and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's not a dragon-infested land, but there's some pretty big beasts out here. Basically, there's an alliance hunt board, and there's this rumor that some new type of dragon, like a new wyvern's been spotted, and the Hunt Guild Association is trying to get together to figure out how to take this thing down and how to slay it. It's already been killing some of the local livestock, so you head out to that region to see if you can find it. Sure enough, you end up finding signs of it, and also a character from Monster Hunter crossed over too. This little, best way I describe it is it looks like a little calico cat, but it's this extremely intelligent cat. They're called a palico, and in Monster Hunter you actually have these little sidekicks that actually help you out a lot during hunts and really help you sort of gather info. Some of them can even help heal you, distract enemies, and all that. But yeah, a palico pays you a visit, helps you out with the hunt and everything, and you find this thing and go to take it out.
All right.
There you have it.
Monster Hunter.
Yeah, but like a bunch of my friends said, "Hey, you gotta play this. Oh my gosh!" And hey, looks awesome, but I don't have the time to sink into it right now.
We only have so much time, people.
We do. We do. I can't. I just can't do this now. So
you can't be opening and closing all kinds of jars.
You can't.
And who knows how dirty and how many knives. I've got so much, in all honesty, I've got so many games I want to get my hands on.
Yeah.
I keep on trying to make the list smaller, but it just gets bigger.
No, lack of time is the number one syndrome today, period. I think a lot of people can relate to that. So
I'm so busy fixing the Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah, you don't have time to think about games. You got to go talk to J.J. Abrams.
Someone else has got to open and close those jars. Huh?
Not you. Not you.
Yeah, somebody else.
Oh boy! Right alongside MMO news, although I can't rightfully call Monster Hunter MMO, but you get the idea. RPG news.
Sure.
Black Desert Online. Now, have you heard about this one?
I have not a freaking clue what this is.
This is a Korean MMO that came out back in 2014 or so.
You're already losing me.
Yeah, I figured I would. But
some of the worst styles is that South Korean MMO/RPG style. It makes me want to barf.
What do you hate about it?
It's just, from most of what I've seen, it's just like this. It's some metrosexual's perspective in a perfect world, and they all look the same, and it is like the furthest thing for me ever.
I got you.
Am I wrong? Does it look like that? I'm about to look it up on Google while you're talking about it. Am I right on how it looks?
It does not. Not for this one. This is more styled after kind of like, from what I've seen. I never played this one, but it's styled more after like Asian mythology and stuff like that.
All right. Well, I'm going to be pleasantly surprised then. All right.
Apparently it's pretty purty, and people always thought so, but it's going to look even purtier.
Oh.
This was actually revealed today. There's an upcoming release, the 23rd of this month, actually for a remastering, sort of like a remastered edition of this being pushed and released, a full update, graphics overhaul. This not only sings to graphics, but also the soundtrack. And the OST is a pretty big deal because this is an OST that has over 220 soundtracks, over 660 minutes of audio time total. And the remastering of this actually involves 7 complete albums for each of the continents. So recordings were done by orchestras in 3 different European countries, so they've really been pushing besides to enhance the graphical fidelity of all of this. But yeah, hey, besides making everything just pop a little more, sound a little more crisp, look a little more crisp, there's a new class coming out. That's the Male Ranger. He has a crossbow as his main weapon, magic gloves as a secondary. Not a whole lot else is known right now. He's got a super slow attack speed. I'm not your one to give a critique on this because I don't play Black Desert Online, so I can't get into those kind of details. But
don't worry, I'll critique it.
just so you know the basics. And then finally, there's going to be a new territory on this one. This is going to be a place that's pretty much covered in darkness due to apparently ridiculously long nights and really low sun exposure. So besides that, expect a few quality of life things like some market updates and fixes like that. But I'm sure this is something really big for anybody who's playing Black Desert. I rarely see a full overhaul like this for a current ongoing MMO. Normally something is announced like an actual sequel or like a spiritual successor or something like that. But this is actually during its run while this whole upgrade series is happening. So
I have 2 things to say. So this is called Positives. And the Black Desert Online, the Positives?
Yep.
Okay. So first, when I just a quick glance, I thought this was some kind of freaking WoW hack. My God, the UI looks ridiculously similar. Secondly, you said that it wasn't going to be what I described it as, and it is exactly what I described it as.
How so?
As far as how the game looks, the aesthetics?
I thought you meant like you were talking about the characters looking the same.
Nope. This looks like crap.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it ain't nothing off my back, man.
Yeah,
so
it is.
I looked at what was it?
No, this is something that I learned a long time ago that this just was not my style.
No, hey, all right, dude, I get it. So, no sweat. You had your time in WoW.
Yeah, but that's why I said it's a WoW hack, because it looked like a WoW hack because the UI is eerily similar,
right?
But the aesthetics are not.
Right. WoW is really the progenitor. You could argue that, especially for MMOs, a lot of them find it hard to break that one now. I mean, Blizzard were pioneers in this, so
definitely,
yeah. All right, spinning on into fighting games. Just a couple of things. This really follows some post Evo, or at least during Evo announcements that we had here for a couple of major series. By the way, Evo was all the hype I expected it to be. Loved it. Absolutely amazing. Chris here dared text me on the holy day. I responded. I was nice. But other than that, that's rare. Most time you'll never hear anything from me during Evo finals. But hey, Evo itself was awesome. What was even more awesome were the announcements that we had during the tournament and at the end of some of the major games. Namco Bandai came out, as well as Tekken producer Harada, at the end of the Tekken tournament to announce the next season coming out for Tekken. That's going to mean new characters, new game updates, and moreover, I'm especially focusing on that character part. People got really excited about what we saw here. We have confirmation on Anna Williams finally coming back. It's really been unknown why she's been out, and people were suspecting, wait, did Nina actually kill her? Is she actually gone?
I know why.
Why?
Because then they could hold it. You're like, what kind of crap reason?
Why?
Why? Because then they could hold her back, and they could sell her for DLC.
If it were Capcom, I'd say yes.
All right,
definitely, but not Namco, not just yet. I think they've done a pretty decent job with their DLC. It's felt worth it, and it's not. Oh, you got new costume pack. Yeah, no. you do what you should, in my opinion. That's you go unlock all that stuff in game by doing in game stuff or online stuff. So, besides Anna, we got Lei Wulong finally coming back. We have not seen him in a mainline Tekken since Tekken 3, besides some appearances in the Tekken Tag series, and finally, and this one was weird, off the wall. I thought Noctis from FF15 appearing was weird, but this Negan from Walking Dead.
And this is why I know it's a cash grab. And I'm sorry, you're going to disagree with me, but look, I understand. You know, I do not follow the two games that you're talking about here. I used to play Tekken like mad, but not anymore. Street Fighter, I haven't really played it in any serious way in many, many, many years. Look, DLCs, character groups and such having off-the-wall characters is nothing new.
Right.
But this does not fit at all.
No.
At all. In a game as hypersensitive with combos and very fleshed out skill sets and fighting stances, the guy swings a bat. And at that, it's a bat with barbed wire wrapped around it. It's bad enough that the watered-down version of Negan that we get in the TV show, which, by the way, if you don't know, if you're a Walking Dead fan, and there's a good chance you are if you're listening to this, the DVD versions of the TV show, when they release them on DVD, they've got the F-bombs in there. There's actually two versions of every scene that Negan shoots. There's the TV version and there's the F-bomb version. But that's already edited. I'm sure that won't be in Tekken. There's no blood in Tekken. Is there blood? There's no blood in Tekken. There's like maybe a teensy bit. But it's not. I mean, you've seen the scene where he knocks Glenn's brains in.
Oh yeah.
He's not doing that.
No.
In Tekken.
If you're talking about like during gameplay itself, you're likely not going to see anything.
But the guy's not a fighter. That's the thing. He's right. A tough guy with a bat. So I don't, look, I get it because like you get crazy DLC characters that happens. I get that. Mm-hmm. But besides that, the only reason I can see them doing it is money. Yeah. Yeah. So this is all one package, right? Or can you buy these characters individually?
This let's see, because the Noctis, they do the season updates. It should be as one package, as far as I know. Some details could come out in that I might not know, but yeah, you should get everybody at once. This is kind of interesting, and tell me if I'm wrong, because you are a big Tekken fan. You are a current Tekken fan. Oh yeah.
You're all about Anna and Lei. You could give zero shits about Negan.
Exactly.
Right. And it's dumb. Now, when you told me about this, first of all, the announcement was crap. The rest of that video I thought was interesting as far as a promotional video for this DLC and for these new characters. And then the whole Negan thing, though, was ridiculous. It was just really bad. It's like a silhouette of an image. It's not even the character in the game. It's like a photo from the TV show. The audio, the lines is straight out of the TV show. So are you even actually hearing the real voice of who's going to be doing voice acting for the game, or it seems really cheap at the end. That's part of the trouble. I think that's a fair critique, because what we have with the rest of the gameplay, I mean, Lei and Anna, right there, you get it. You see gameplay, right. You see move sets, you see part of their rage arts and stuff like that. I think that's par for the course for any reveal. It's just strange, I guess, leaving that one on such a weird note, just kind of hanging out in limbo and in space. It just wasn't consistent with the rest of the presentation. So yeah, this DLC character Negan belongs in either Mortal Kombat or even stretching it out a little bit more, although he belongs in Mortal Kombat. Maybe Soul Calibur. Now that would be cool.
That would be funny
if he was in there with his bat. It's Soul Calibur. But he should be in Mortal Kombat. He should be, the fatalities. I mean, good Lord.
Exactly.
And all right, Tekken, Now, as a Walking Dead fan, a huge Walking Dead fan, they made the biggest mistake they made was they're bringing in TV show Negan. They needed to bring in comic book Negan. That would have actually had me considering buying Tekken 7 and the DLC to play comic book Negan.
Wow.
I would have actually considered it.
Wow.
Of course, seeing actual game footage and how he was going to play. But that would have had me actually considering. But since it's TV show Negan, no. Someone didn't do their research. Someone, doesn't understand the fandom, and they made a bad decision here.
Yeah, it made a grab. I don't think Namco are immune to doing those types of grabs. I just mean they've been traditionally with their DLCs. They don't rake you over the coals with nickel and diming you for every version of a costume. For example, you can go unlock that stuff in game. I think, which is how it should be, which is great. There's some questionable things from Capcom that I never liked just with their DLC, but yeah, the choice itself is an odd one. I mean, some people immediately say, "Oh my gosh, a weapon character in Tekken!" Like, no, and then I always point and say, "Well, look at Noctis. I mean, he's running around with glaives and swords and stuff. He's just pulling out of warp, and crazy things he's throwing around. In the same hand, you've got all kinds of cosmetics in Tekken." Shotguns you can mount on your back, golf clubs, just stupid stuff. List goes on and on.
Who has a golf club?
Well, there's so in the costume outfitting, like for aesthetics, it's not all just for looks. There's a lot of things you can customize that you can like put on your character. There's all kinds of goofy stuff, but some are like things you can actually use, like weapons. Like for example, there's this little like sawed off little combat shotgun. And you can't combo with it or anything, but like you hit a certain button, things together, you just take this little gun off your back, do a shot, put it back. It's an unblockable hit.
I mean, look, I used to play Curtis Stryker in Mortal Kombat, so I understand the absurdity. The guy threw around grenades and shot a gun, but I mean, a sawed-off shotgun. Have you ever seen what that could do to a thing?
Of course.
Oh my god. That'd be awesome if that like actually happened. Sometimes somebody actually does it. There's a latest update for Tekken 7. And the first time they use the sawed-off shotgun, it just blows the character away. It goes off Mortal Kombat. He's just a puddle.
Blam.
Okay.
But no, yeah, I'll have to show you some of the goofy costume weapons out there.
Oh please.
They're fun. I know. I used to, in fact. I remember I used to have I used to put one on Lei, in fact, one of the Tekkens. I used to arm him up with a sledgehammer. That was always really fun, going into like drunken boxing and weird kung fu stand, and then using a sledgehammer. I like it. So. All right, yeah. And the other one was for Street Fighter V. A couple new characters, G and Sagat. G has had me going a bit because he kept looking like Greg from Bloody Roar, and I didn't know what they were doing with this. But hey, here we have it. They had the official showing, and they showed his V triggers, and then some of his super arts and all that good stuff. And then I think Sagat was the bigger announcement. Honestly, a lot of longtime SF fans went nuts over that. This is a classic of the classic characters, especially for zoning and stuff like that. But
classic of the classics, man. You're missing the one who's even been around since before Sagat, and that's Blanca. Been around since the first one, the first Street Fighter.
Tiger.
But, yeah, he was in Street Fighter 1, wasn't he?
Who, Blanca?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. That's right. But Sagat wasn't.
No, he wasn't. Blanca, I mean, Sagat came out as the rival to Ryu. That was Street Fighter 2, right?
Yeah.
The end of it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, you told me about this, and again, I don't follow either of these games, but I was surprised because my comment was, these characters aren't in the current game.
Yeah. You're like, what are you doing?
You know what? That's not a fair comment for me, though, because, thinking about the DLC they've done for the Mortal Kombat 9 and 10, they had some really older characters that they came out in DLC, so that's not a fair comment. But I guess for me, just looking at my basic bitch knowledge of these games right now. Yeah, so, all right, good on them for putting them in, though.
Yeah, they got their back. And Street Fighter's made choices like that before too. Like you always have your Guile style characters, for example. But let's jump forward. Look, Third Strike. Guile wasn't in that, but there was a very Guile-like character. If you like doing charge ups, Sonic Boom style attacks and somersaults, you picked Remy. That's who you played.
Remy. What's a Remy?
Remy is Gambit. No, I'm just kidding. Remy is a blue-haired, kind of thin French dude who likes to do Sagat style moves. So, I mean, wow, Guile style moves.
Well, and you showed me Laura.
Yeah, so Laura's kind of Blanca right now because all Brazilians are electrified in the right. So
that's how it works. That's how it's done.
Wacky. But yeah, great tournament, fun announcements. I think that, as you're saying, that the Negan announcement was a little off, but I think everybody handled their announcements pretty well. I wanted to know a little bit more about what ArcSys has planned, especially for having a presence with 3 events at EVO. It's pretty unbelievable. Blaze Blue Cross Tag, Dragon Ball, and man, killing it. Guilty Gear.
I have 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
How did the attendees react at EVO to the Negan announcement?
There was a lot. The best way I can describe it is, what?
Okay. Was there a lot of cheering? And my follow up to that would have been, if there was a lot of cheering, was that just kind of follow up from Anna and Lay being announced?
I think for the cheers that I heard for that was not, for example, a unified roar, kind of like what Sagat got. Like I kind of compare the two. I know that's sort of, it's not completely fair because you might have 2 different fan bases, sitting in the stadium at any given time. But in a way, I think that's a fine metric to use. You're looking at a beloved character that people have wanted and they play a lot. Another that's just like, wait, what? If anything, the announcement for G was a little shakier than the announcement for Negan. People didn't really catch on a whole lot in SF till they saw his moveset, and then they saw how fast the update was coming out, that they'd be able to play G and Sagat like right after EVO. That's what people got really hyped up for. But yeah, for Negan, it didn't feel awkward or anything, an awkward silence or any like boos and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it was sort of more of a collective shock. Like, are you serious? What?
Yeah, when's that coming out?
I'm trying to remember when the next season's out. They hinted at the announcement. I don't have the exact date for you though.
Okay.
So I gotta dig around for that a bit. Because I know for Street Fighter it was pretty obvious. They hinted and it just slid in tomorrow. But yeah, I can't tell you right now. But I can tell you about an info minute. Chris, have you ever played Pokemon Go?
No, never will.
Thank you. What turns you off about it?
Pokemon.
That's enough to do it, right?
Yeah, I'm not a Pokemon fan.
Funny thing I've noticed about this,
I have no inkling to catch them all. I do not want to catch one.
You don't even want to catch one. No. Yeah, I figured you did. Well, one thing I've noticed about Pokemon Go is its ability to bring in demographics and people who never even touched Pokemon in their life, who never played Red or Blue back in the day, who never touched the card game, anything like that. And this is just an ongoing trend. In fact, this is something that's even caught up people heading on towards their senior years. This was the story I caught came out of Taiwan. As a 69-year-old Taiwan man, he pretty much became a local celebrity after he was spotted playing Pokemon Go on 11 smartphones he mounted on his bike.
What?
This man's name is Chen Sonyan. He is 69 years old and lives in New Taipei City, Taiwan. This was the first document, and this was taken just this week, August 8th. Here, while we're talking about this, you need to see I'm going to give you a quick snapshot of that just so you have an image.
Yeah, show me 11 phones going on his bike.
There you go. It's heading over there. But yeah, he says he's become known as Uncle Pokemon around the area. Residents have spotted this guy riding around just around town playing his game on 11 phones at once. Sometimes he'll be out all the way till 4 a.m. doing this, and he got hooked back in 2016 after his grandson showed him how to play this. Now, this has cost this fella some money. This dude's dedicated, but he spent more than $1,300 each month. And he's considering expanding his rig so he can play on 15 phones at once.
Why? Wait, okay. First confirmed 11 phones. But it should be noted that 9 are on the bike and 2 are in his hand.
Right.
So, all right. So I see 9 on the bike. Well, because that's a big feat. Okay. Why is he spending so much money? How is this? I'm sure there is a monetization aspect to the game, but why?
Yeah.
Like, what are you spending money on?
Well, so when Pokemon Go first came out, you had the monetary options you had, like little additions, were you could get a specialized item that attracted more Pokemon and higher level Pokemon to your area. When that happened, other players could see that if there were a lot of Pokemon converging around somewhere. Hence, more people would be coming by trying to catch stuff or like trying to zone in on it. So you had little additions like that, and also just some small little market things. But Pokemon had a huge update. Recent-ish, they added a friend system. There's these like these co-op missions you can do together. These kind of like raids and everything like that. So the game's really
raids.
Yeah, raids. I know how that sounds with the MMOs, right? Yeah, raids and then there's like there's some kind of like extra difficulty raid where you can like unlock Mewtwo or something like that. It's crazy, man. But
wait, so how does 11 phones help him?
So as far as what he's doing on 11 phones, I would imagine, and this is just from a cursory examination of Pokemon Go, like what the little I know about this. Let's say you come into an area with a really high level Pokemon. It's kind of like people who want to run multiple accounts of something to try and increase their odds of catching a really rare Pokemon, or like being able to do that across multiple accounts. So you come across an area with like, you know, some legendary Pokemon you really want to catch. And let's say I miss it on my phone, I miss my chance, or it gets weird. It's like, oh crap. Well, I mean, this guy's got 11 phones, so he'll just like throw Pokeballs at it like all day, and maybe like 2 out of 11 of his phones might get it or something. So I think it's sort of like those classic multiple account farmers. That same idea, but he's just taking this to mobile, and it's just so funny to see this from somebody who has no previous investment in Pokemon at all, didn't even know what it was, and now is doing this.
Right. You know, I like seeing stuff like this, and let me tell you why. Because my generation, Gen X and Millennials,
yep,
and Gen Z, whatever that ends up getting called, we get a lot of crap from older generations about being into video games and such.
Yes, we do.
And the degradation of what even humanity, some would say, due to video games and smartphones. And these are instances right here. And there's a lot more of them. But here's a perfect example. This is not a generational thing.
No.
You got a 69-year-old man with 11 phones spending $1,300 to $1,500 a month trying to catch them all.
Yeah.
And I don't want to catch one.
Oh man!
If I had one, I'd give it to him.
Here, take my Pokemon.
Yeah.
No, you're right. This is something that shows gaming, the many forms it takes, as something that's not limited to your generation or your age. Sometimes it's just a bug that bites you, and something that you just really get into. So
that's right.
So, just let's see if I still remember my Pokemon knowledge.
I'm sorry.
No. I remember
your Pokemon.
No, I remember if I remember any. I was trying to remember an insect Pokemon to get bit by. I was trying to make an example at like a Parasect. Yeah, don't get bit by a Parasect. Yeah, okay, I'm done.
Bit by the Parasect.
That's all I got.
All right, are you gonna go see the Pokemon movie come out when it comes out next year with Ryan Reynolds?
There's another.
Yeah, Pikachu's a detective. It's called the Detective Pikachu.
Wait, no.
Starring Ryan Reynolds.
The fact that Ryan Reynolds is in it, okay, that's great. Dude, no, I can't.
You don't want to see Detective Pikachu?
I can't, dude. I will stick to the I'll stick to the Herman Cain Pokemon quotes. I'll leave it at that. So
all right. Well, so I guess I'll be doing the review on Detective Pikachu next year.
Yeah, no thanks.
And just like at one of those Gallagher shows where he smashes all the watermelons.
Yeah.
All right, you better bring, if you're in the front row, bring a garbage bag to wear or something because it's going to get bloody. Detective Pikachu's not coming out the other end of my review. You had a chance to save him, but no, you don't want to save him.
Case closed for Pikachu.
You can catch them all except for Pikachu.
He won't be caught.
He will not be catchable. He will be. You ever seen Fargo where they throw him in the wood chipper?
Yep.
Yeah, that's Pikachu. No, seriously though, wasn't there a happy ending to this? When he was going to cut down on all the phones and stuff? He wasn't this guy.
No. This is
okay.
This is ongoing, man.
So
no.
The ending is he lost all of his retirement money, and now lives with his kids.
The ending is he's ramping it up. That he wants to do 15 plus phones.
Oh, yep. Move in with his kids, be a burden.
Oh man,
he's gonna drive their kids and the dog nuts. This is a sitcom right here.
Ongoing series, man. You know he'd make the great kind of elderly character that you always see at home. This be awesome. Oh well.
Yep.
But alrighty. There you have it, everybody. Hey, thank you for tuning in again. We appreciate having you with us. Be sure, stay tuned right here in this channel for some more of our movie reviews, our show reviews. The most recent thing we're going to have coming out, we hinted at this earlier, is our review for Voltron Season 7. But
woohoo!
Well, we're going to have a lot to say about that.
Yes, there are words, and I will be using them. So I will be using a handful of words during this. Come and find out which ones.
Man, dropping heavy spoilers like that, I don't think I can take it. Shoot.
Some of the words I will be using. Also Voltron. And I may be using the word review.
All right, this is too next level for me. I'm going to shut this down. So, hey, thank you all for being here. We're going to catch you again soon. Take it easy. Have a good one. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, or anything we go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but if great if you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksawmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.